everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Viewpoint, a Talking Crap special, as we will look at the greatest wrestling match ever taking place at Backlash and give you our predictions on this episode. I'm joined by my co-host, as always, Jazzy Josh Porter.
Hello! It's good to be back as usual with the Viewpoint. Maybe I'll actually come first this time.
Well, we hope. We do have some other contenders, though. Making his Talking Crap debut, firstly we have the heavyweight Lewis Barrett.
What up, everyone? What's going on?
Whoop, whoop. And we have returning Champagne Charlie.
Hello. It's good to be back.
Indeed. And finally, we do have the co-winner of the NXT predictions. We have Danny Chapman.
Real champ is here.
Okay, Danny Cena there, everyone. Before we get into it, though, we've got a couple of little news bits to go by before we do get on to discussing the greatest wrestling match ever. That's going to be a fun one. But firstly, from the WWE 2K22 developers, the creators have come out this week on social media and said that they're looking at older games such as No Mercy and even some of the old SmackDown and SmackDown vs. Raw games for inspiration. And while we await for probably further announcements later on in the year, later on for next year, I guess, we thought we'd discuss it at the start of this episode. So, we all have fond memories of these games. I know I do, especially the arcadey type ones. Those are always my kind of favourite ones, always like that. So we'll go around and see, any kind of one feature that people would like to be brought back or any new feature. I know there'll be some differences among the groups. Let's start with Mr. Porter. What do you think? What do you think they should bring into these games or bring back?
So one of the features that I loved was just a match type. It wasn't really a major thing. It was the gauntlet match. Not the 2K Towers gauntlet where you had to come out of it, go into another screen and then continue. No, where it was just one person after another, like a handicap style.
Yeah, and I like that too. What about you then, Champagne Charlie?
I miss the older season modes from when there used to be SmackDown versus Raw games. The season modes then were fantastic because you had original storylines, and that's what I miss. In the last few years, you've had showcase modes. I've enjoyed those, but that's just reliving old history. I like the originality of some of the stories they used to have.
The thing is, you can kind of say that it kind of sometimes parallels the WWE's narrative to an extent. WWE would sometimes prefer to go back to nostalgia, wouldn't they? Rather than give you something new. And the same thing in the games, I guess. They focused on some of the older legendary superstars and Hall of Famers, the older stories over creating new ones. What about you then, Chapman? I know you're an avid player of these games. As one of the youngest.
I'd like for it to have like a general manager mode like they did in the old games. Ooh. I'd like to have so you can either be the general manager of Raw or SmackDown or NXT, and you can kind of try and all lead up to Survivor Series, and you have to try and win for your team. That's what I'd kind of like to see. But I feel like 2019, the game really threw me off. It was really, really bad. So I didn't get 2020. So I don't know what happened in that game, but I'd like to see that.
Fair enough. And fine to you, Barrett.
I mean, I'm not much of a gamer, to be honest. I mean, being a bit older than the rest of you guys, but back in the day, I enjoyed the old SmackDown vs. Raw games. I believe Brock Lesnar endorsed one from about 2002, 2003, around that kind of time. I think it was that one. I enjoyed those ones. Very simple to play back in that day. So I'm not too sure how advanced it is kind of nowadays. But one of the things I enjoyed was the bra and panties matches, mainly because it was it was very in line with the society at that point, and it was a bit strange how someone of my age at that point was able to play a game like that. But I thought it was fun. I don't care. So bring it back.
Fair enough. I mean, we got a women's episode of Talking Crap, which we pre-recorded last week with Chris Hunter as a guest. And we have discussed, obviously, bra and panties matches. So people can check that out, obviously, when it drops later this week. There's a lot of features, really, and hopefully 2K listen to the fan base. It can't get much worse than what they produced last year, I guess. We shall see. They have announced, obviously, Battlegrounds later on this year. They're keeping quiet on that front, it seems. But that's for next year. So I guess they have like a year and a half to kind of develop it.
Just quickly before we move on, I have got an article here that I've been reading throughout the recording, which I will chuck in the description because it has got a lot of, not necessarily details of what they're bringing out, but how they're trying to improve it. I can tell you that one of the features they've got is they're bringing back... so back in the SmackDown vs. Raw games, if you had to create a character, you could import music from your Xbox or console, wherever you're on, and they're bringing that back so you can have your own theme tunes, or you can update characters' theme tunes.
Yeah, I'm guessing they'd have the problem. They would have the problem with, obviously, probably a licensing problem of... when you stream it, though. I think that's the problem they have to get around. But yeah, that's definitely an interesting feature. But yeah, leave that link to the description. Anyway, next we've got to talk about Nikki Bella, who is pregnant, and she's going to be doing her gender reveal on this week's edition of Total Bellas. Now, we're recording this before it's aired, so we're going to do a little guess, and it will be added to our Backlash predictions. And so obviously it airs in the US tonight, and it airs in the UK on Sunday, the 14th of June. Now, let's go around the room, and let's see. What are your picks then? Let's start with you then, Champagne Charlie.
I really don't care, but if I have to make a prediction, I would have to say maybe a little boy.
Fair enough. Chapman.
I'm going to go with a little girl. Again, I don't care, but I feel like...
There's a point at stake, though. There's a point at stake, so, you know, it could be the deciding point, and you want to defend your crown, I guess.
True, but I feel it's a little girl because of the whole briefing.
Fair enough. Porter.
I'm going to agree with everyone else and say I don't care, but... if I had to make a guess, I'm going to go with a boy.
You go, boy. Okay, fair enough. And to you, Barrett.
My prediction. Well, let's be real right now. We're in 2020. It can be anything at this point. I would say microwave or pineapple. But realistically, there are only two genders. So I'm going to say girl, only because it just seems like that Bella gene pool only produce girls.
Yeah. Fit girls too. That's a bit. Yeah. I'm gonna go with girl. I don't know, because we had a girl, and I think Nick had a girl too. So I've gone with girl. There we go. Probably the most retarded news we've done on that, but it is a point in the prediction, so we made something of it.
What does this prediction show come to?
Well, look, we are getting on because we are going to be discussing now the Backlash greatest wrestling match ever, and that is coming up. So you need to watch this whole thing. We're going to make you wait for it today. So we are going to start with one of the big matches from the Raw sort of things. We've got a match for the WWE Championship as Drew McIntyre takes on Bobby Lashley, who'll be accompanied by MVP. Who have we got for this contest? Start with you, Champagne Charlie.
Okay, now this one's a bit of an odd one for me because I've been seeing rumours all week long on the internet about them wanting to put a dream match on for SummerSlam in a few months' time. That would be Bobby Lashley as champion versus Brock Lesnar. But because it's a bit too far away, and usually every time a rumour gets out, they like to flip it, I'm going to say Drew McIntyre for the win.
Fair point. Next to you, Chapman.
Again, I've read the rumours. I've heard that they want to put the belt on Lashley for the Brock Lesnar match, but I feel like they don't need to do that because I don't think anyone want to see it. Brock Lesnar needs to stay away from the belt, and I'm going to go with Drew, personally, because I want to see him have a really, really good reign. I feel like there's a lot of people he could work really well with, so I'm going to go with Drew.
Fair point, nice answer. Porter.
As much as I'd like to see the Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar dream match, not because I like Brock Lesnar, but because I think it would potentially be a good match, hopefully better than anything Goldberg and Brock Lesnar could do. That being said, I like Drew McIntyre too much. I'm going to have to go with McIntyre unless MVP somehow gets involved with his shenanigans.
Fair enough. And fine to you, Barrett.
I've heard the rumours as well. I don't think they're going to do it just yet, or even SummerSlam. I think it's actually too big for SummerSlam. I'd like to see it at WrestleMania. Yeah. But I see Drew McIntyre winning this one, as I do think they don't want to. I feel like they want to give it a longer run than if it was just to end on Sunday. I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be the end of it though. I'm sure MVP will evolve into a screwy finish where I do still see Drew winning, but this will be a rematch, I would imagine. But I do see at some point down the line that Lashley will actually take the belt from him to then lead to this rematch.
Well, fair enough. I see you've gone for Drew. I've gone for Lashley. I think they've shown in the past with like Goldberg and Reigns that if they want to do a match and they need the belt, they will just get the belt of the person and they will disregard kind of anything else. And I think they might be daft enough to do it. They're looking for TV ratings, especially for Raw, dipping below 2 million. And yeah, I reckon they're going to do it. So I've gone for Lashley on that one. So next, a bit of a controversial one on the blue side of things, the SmackDown side of things. We've got a match between Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. This has obviously been controversial because of lots of the DUI storyline they've been doing. We'll start with you then first, Champagne Charlie. Who's your pick?
Okay, like this storyline has really pissed me off because they're taking a man's personal problems and airing it all over the place. I mean, it's like they didn't learn from over 20 years ago when they did the same thing to Road Warrior Hawk. You know, that guy had problems and they took advantage of it. Now they're doing the same thing. But in regards to the match, however, because of how they're treating Jeff Hardy, I can only see it getting worse. I think they're going to put Sheamus over for the win.
Fair point. And next to you, Chapman.
I feel like Sheamus is going to win, but I don't think it's going to be a clean finish because with the whole Jeff Hardy thing, I think Josh can correct me on here. Wasn't it Elias that he hit?
Yeah.
So yeah. I feel that Elias is going to get involved, attack Jeff Hardy for Sheamus to win.
Elias is out with an injury, like a legitimate injury.
Oh, so it's a legitimate injury.
Yeah, 6 to 9 months. So I think it probably is very unlikely that he'd be involved at anything at this point. But it's your prediction, I guess.
I'm still staying with Sheamus then.
Fair enough. Next to you, Porter.
All I'm picturing is this rivalry going on a little bit longer, maybe potentially to SummerSlam, where they have a bigger match. But what I'm picturing is Sheamus somehow getting some handcuffs involved, or playing some mind games with Jeff and taking the win to see this rivalry go further.
So you're Sheamus as well, then, yeah? Yeah, you're Sheamus as well, Josh?
Yeah, indeed I am.
Okay, and finally to you, Barrett.
I'm going to be a bit different from the other guys. I'm actually going to say Jeff Hardy on this one because I just feel that they got both return at the same time as well. And it just seems like Jeff got more of a spotlight, more vignettes were featuring him more than Sheamus, even though Sheamus has undoubtedly probably been in the best shape, the best condition he's ever been in his entire career.
In his 40s.
And I feel as much as I would like to see the feud go on, I feel that this could actually be a one-time thing. They want to give Jeff the last run he actually wants, i.e. the vignettes. And there was a rumour as well that Jeff wants Brock to retire him because it all started with the Hardys. So I can actually see Jeff they are going to they're going to see through his last run now. So I think with the story that it's going, where they highlighted the start, the fall, and then the rise, I think they're doing the whole 3 stages all at once with this last run. He had his last laps of Judgment where he kicks Elias in the car, and then ultimately the rise he'll maybe even have a championship reign, and then ultimately Brock him off for good. So I'm going to have a Jeff this one.
Fair enough. I've gone with the others. I've gone with Sheamus. I think they're going to continue it. Interesting that you mentioned Brock in there because obviously both brands are near the ratings at the moment, and Brock is, as much as people dislike him, he's a ratings draw. And so he could be inserted into a feud on SmackDown, but I can't see him having a non-title feud. It's just not in Brock's nature, really. he fights for the title. So yeah, I go Sheamus. I think definitely something dodgy happening here, though. I think this one. But anyway, next the women's tag team titles on the line. It's a triple threat tag team match as the new champions Bayley and Sasha Banks look to defend against the teams of Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross and the Iconics. So obviously all three have been the champions before. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, which won the belts at Mania and lost them a couple of weeks ago on SmackDown. So let's start with you, Chapman Charlie. Who's your pick?
I am really, really not sure on this one at all because I've not really paid much attention to the build-up of it. But simply because they've just won the belts and it seems too soon to take them away, I'll go with Bayley and Sasha Banks.
Fair enough. Chapman?
I'm going to go with the current champions, Bayley and Sasha Banks, because I feel like they've only just won them and I don't think it's got enough build-up.
Fair point. Porter?
I'm going to agree with the masses and go Bayley and Banks. However, I wouldn't complain if the Iconics or Nikki and Bliss took it off of them, but realistically, I'm going to have to go with Banks and Bayley.
And finally, Barrett.
Full House. I'm going to go with Bayley and Sasha because they've only just won it. I can't see them dropping it just yet. I feel like there's a bit more build-up with Bayley and Sasha actually breaking up because they kind of teased it when they actually won the belts.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to end just yet. But although they did actually give the Iconics a couple of singles wins against the previous champions before they dropped it, I feel that they're the close team to take it off of them, but not just yet.
Yeah, this is interesting because I think they the original location, or the scheduled location, I guess, for SummerSlam this year is Boston, which, as we know, is Sasha Banks' hometown. And you must get the feeling that they would be looking to build towards Bayley and Sasha in Boston for the SmackDown Women's Championship. But as we know, the situation in the world, if we can't say the word, as we will get YouTube jail for it, the situation in the world obviously leaves that event unlikely to happen. But it just feels like they have been setting it up for a long time. That being said, I'm going for Bayley and Sasha Banks, which I'm going to name and dub on this podcast. You hear it here first. Team Basher. That's it, Basher. Bayley and Sasha Banks are now Basher from here on in. Hashtag Basher. I'll go with Bayley and Sasha Banks. I don't see them dropping the belts after like a week. It would make no sense. Right, next then, we've got the match sponsored by the Beano. We've got Universal Championship match. Braun Strowman takes on The Miz and John Morrison, who seem to think they are Artful Dodger or something like that. What the hell is going on in this championship? We've gone from Goldberg, The Fiend, Reigns, Lesnar, Rollins, all very strong points, to literally people getting gunged on television, and that's meant to be story development. But I don't know. Anyway, they haven't announced whether they're doing their weird rule of whoever gets the pinfall with the champion, which would make this a bit more interesting. I guess they could announce it later on this week. But at the moment, I'm assuming they're going to share the belt. I don't know if they were to win. Anyway, let's go around then. Champagne Charlie, thoughts and picks.
Okay, this build-up is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. And this is coming from a man who remembers when David Arquette won a world title. Okay, so it's pointless. And for that reason, Braun Strowman to keep the title, because it doesn't make any sense otherwise.
Yeah. Chapman?
I'm going to go with Braun Strowman because, again, weirdest storyline I've ever seen. And it just makes no sense. I feel like they're just going to give the belt to Reigns when he comes back.
Yeah, I mean, Porter.
I'm going to go with Strowman. Just normally, if they put a big guy in a handicap match, it's just going to go for the big guy most of the time to make them look stronger.
Didn't earlier in the year, he lost the IC Championship in a handicap match, a 3-on-1 with Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Cesaro. So interestingly, there is some sort of weird rule here where they've kind of not done that before, but now will they now do it because you know what I mean? Like there's WWE logic which makes no sense sometimes. It's like that.
You say logic. That's a very, very key word there.
Sorry. I'm really, really struggling here. This storyline is ridiculous, Duddery. You need to sort this out. It's your Universal Championship, and you're treating it like it's a sketch from Little Britain. Mate, rest in peace. Anyway, coming to you then, Barrett.
Let's be real right now. If this was the 24/7 title, this would have been the perfect build-up, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But it's the World Championship.
It's a World Championship. I would prefer it to be a bit more serious. I mean, this type of one. But as you say, it seems like they really want to drop the belt of the big guy, but they can't have him look too weak. They do in a handicap match, like you referenced earlier. They took the belt off the IC title from Sami Zayn. I remember years ago as well, when Reigns was the United States champion.
Yeah.
He dropped the title to Jericho in a handicap match with Owens. It just seems like they have to you need 2 and 3 people to put the guy they really want to revere down really. So if they are going to drop it, it seems like this was the way they're going to do it. But the build-up also is a bit silly in terms of not even just the pranks they were playing on him, but the fact that even Corey Graves even mentioned that they would be co-champions, and as a world championship, having co-champions is a bit silly, especially as they're a recognized tag team as well. So with that alone, I think this would be probably the shortest match, but I actually think Braun will nigh on squash both of them and retain them pretty comfortably, I think.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've gone for Braun too. I do see them maybe doing another match next month of a similar kind of vein. I think obviously they won't get Bray's on paternity leave, and Roman's obviously because of the situation. He is not about, so I think they are just stalling this championship to get a better match. And this is not the match, in my opinion. But yeah, I'll go for Braun too. Let's move on. United States Championship. Apollo Crews, our new champion. He'll be defending against Andrade from the Raw side of things. I'm actually quite excited about this match. I'm not excited, but I think it'd be a good match. They're 2 good workers. Even though they do lean, especially Apollo, for me, leans towards the boring side in terms of personality. But who's your picks then? Start with you, Champion Charlie.
I'm quite looking forward to this one because I think this is going to be a great athletic contest. Both these guys were in their prime, and it's just going to be a good showing. Because Apollo only won it recently, I'd like to see him keep hold of it. So for that reason, I'm going to say Apollo Crews.
Fair enough. Chapman?
I'm going to have to go with Apollo Crews because new champion, like to see him have a better run with it, and because he's my boy.
Good boy.
I loved him. I loved him on NXT. I actually really liked him on NXT, and when he came up, I was kind of a bit disappointed in the way they used him. So
you know what's scary? You're young enough that he can actually be your childhood hero.
That's the sad part.
That's just the sad part. Fair enough. Porter.
This is one of 2 matches that I'm pretty much the only 2 matches that I'm looking forward to on the card. The rest of it is just a bit meh to me. That being said, I'd like to see Andrade take it and then potentially feud with Angel Garza, because they have been teasing a breakup between the 2 of those on recent weeks. But that being said, Apollo has only just won it, so I'm going to go with Apollo Crews on this one.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you were going for Andrade. Yeah. Barrett next then, sorry.
I think it's going to be an Apollo retention. Again, I think this match will be a clinic, a real masterclass clinic in terms of 2 styles meshing perfectly. I actually think Andrade is actually going to be on to bigger and better things after this, though. And I think it's all going to start with Angel Garza and, obviously not Austin Theory now, but Angel Garza most definitely in the near future. And also, it seems when Zelina, when Andrade is booked to lose, and normally you would get the manager on the outside to be taken out, but in this instance, Zelina just literally watches him lose.
Yeah, it's very odd.
She doesn't often get involved, and then then the payoff is then Andrade loses. Like she'll sometimes in a clean finish, she'll just stand there and watch him lose. So and I think that's really the case again. Like she'll again do that whole same shocked look when Apollo just will retain in a very, very good technically sound match. There's no match I'm looking forward to, 100%.
So, yeah, it's another kind of whitewash match, this. This is the problem, I think, when they do title changes on TV. You can't really then expect them to have another title change pay-per-view. So I've gone for Apollo 2, though I could see them giving back to Andrade because we can't obviously dismiss the unfortunate elephant in the room being the Charlotte connection. But I just hope it does go back to Andrade, that they have to accept that if he gets suspended, if he gets injured, if he gets whatever, they have to vacate the title because it was ridiculous last time when he was having suspensions and injuries and pulling out of WrestleManias and stuff and still kept the US title. When Sami Zayn, who fair enough has chosen to stay home during this situation, got stripped the title kind of straight away. So, but yeah, I've gone for Apollo on that one. But anyway, our two main matches, in my opinion anyway, from the women's side of things, we've got the Raw Women's Championship match as Asuka takes on the Terminator, Nia Jax. Let's begin. Champagne Charlie, your picks and your thoughts.
This is a no-brainer for me, okay? Asuka for the win because you've seen what's been happening with Nia Jax. You know, people are legitimately getting hurt. You know, she just doesn't know how to work properly. So, Asuka to keep the title, hands down.
Okay, very succinct to the point. Chapman.
I'm going to go Asuka because Nia Jax is the force to be reckoned with, literally. And because I feel like Asuka might die in this match.
Yeah, well, we will gladly be having a funeral, you know, and we'll be sending out her gifts.
Well, I've heard the guest referee is a priest to read last rites.
She will be joining Kairi Sane in her death.
Porter.
I'm going to go with Asuka just because WWE love Asuka. I don't see them giving the title to Nia Jax anytime soon. I think the only way Nia Jax has a chance of winning is if she kills Asuka like every other career she's been in the ring with. But yeah, I'm going to go Asuka.
Fair point. And Barrett?
I would love to see Nia win this because the heat would be nuclear. Because I can literally visualise now just everything, the backlash, pardon the pun, but the backlash online would be crazy. Although again, I'm going to echo the predictions from everyone else that Asuka's going to win this one. But I think this actually got some scope for actually putting the belt on Nia. I don't think she's going to win it. No, I don't think she's going to lose just because she's unsafe. We've seen in times past that doesn't mean anything to WWE. Like if they get organic heat, that they'll roll with it. I would like to see Nia win it for that ridiculous over the top heat. But then I think Asuka's a bit too much of a prominent character to stop it too soon. Again, echoing your point from earlier, there's too many title changes on TV. Although Asuka didn't win hers she technically did win it on TV when it got reviewed the next day on Raw. So I think again, too many title changes on TV. I think they're just desperate for ratings. They need the title change, but I can't see any title. I can't see this one changing.
Fair point. I've gone for Asuka, and I'm actually hoping it. I know someone said that Braun's match will be very short. I'm hoping this is the one that's short. I'm hoping that Asuka just kills her. I think you've got to really think of the safety and priority and the welfare of your employees. And I think as much as WWE have shown they don't care about stuff, I think this is one of those. And usually it's like we're saying the DOI thing, and back to the DOI thing that the championship charged earlier. This is a company that continued to pay per view of someone died in the ring. So with regards to that kind of stuff, you can't ever be too shocked, in my opinion. It's a bit like, this is a company, they don't care. They continue to pay per view if someone died. They're not going to stop a storyline because someone gets offended. But I think in terms of in-ring safety, I think this is something they have to take seriously because of the neck injuries and all that kind of stuff. And I'm praying that it's annoying that you can't be say the phrase "send Nia down to NXT" because NXT is a third brand now. It has its own thing, and as the NXT women showed on Takeover with a match, which I don't know if he's done these star ratings yet, Dave Spazza, but it's a match which I felt was probably the best women's match in a long while. And then on the flip side of that, you've got Nia Jax killing people, and I just think Nia Jax should be a long, long way from a championship. And the only way to do that is for Asuka to demolish her. So I'm hoping that's the case here. But anyway, now here's where we get to. This is the moment you've all waited for, as it is time to discuss the greatest wrestling match ever.
This is the point where I'd need a sound effect that shouts "boo" at that statement. However,
no, it's the greatest. It's the greatest wrestling match ever, Josh. Between Edge and Randy Orton. Now, what we do know is that the match has been pre-recorded. It was pre-recorded on the same day as Takeover in Your House. We do know that it was recorded inside in a wrestling ring, but that is all the information that we know. We are therefore assuming that it will be cinematic to some extent, similar to how they've maybe done some of the other matches over the past, such as the Money in the Bank and other matches. But this is absolutely batshit crazy, isn't it? And I can't believe we're going to have to discuss this in a serious manner. So what are your thoughts? How is the match going to play out? Who's your pick? And let's start with you, Champagne Charlie.
Okay, the so-called greatest match of all time, and I'm using this in inverted quotes here with my fingers, okay? Obviously, it's because it's pre-recorded. There's going to be all sorts of crazy things. There's going to be people falling off of trucks. There's going to be glass broken, all that kind of stuff. They're really overdoing the cinematic stuff to death, in my opinion, because nearly every month now there seems to be something like this, and it's starting to really lose its appeal for me. As far as who's going to go over, whilst we've been having this conversation, I just dug up another rumor, and the rumor is that Randy Orton apparently wants to do some work with the newer talent on NXT. So, because of that rumor I've just dug up, I'm thinking great way to write him off of main roster and get him over there. So I think Edge for the win.
Oh, interesting. Okay, coming to you next, Chapman.
This match is the weirdest thing. You see all these matches that have been given 5 stars, and then they say, yeah, this is going to be the greatest match. And I can guarantee you that it is basically going to be a rip-off from Mania but I have a feeling this is not the last of this feud. I feel like Randy Orton's going to win.
Okay. And
then at SummerSlam, I feel like they're going to have a final match where I think they'd put Randy Orton's, I don't know, I think it'd be like either career versus career.
Oh, interesting story. I mean, it could escalate to that, I must admit. Right, let's see, Porter.
I've actually just received an email from Jim Cornette, who has told me that this match was actually pre-recorded back in 2005 when the two could actually have a 5-star match. Right, that being said...
I can't wait for Cornette's review on this, though. I cannot wait.
Should we get Jim Cornette as a guest? But yeah, no, that being said...
If you can't get him, I've got Russo on my Facebook.
That being said, I'm gonna go with Randy Orton, actually, because we've had Edge win the last match they were in, and I'm gonna say Randy Orton's gonna take this win, and maybe this feud will continue until SummerSlam. Maybe not with a career versus career match, because the only way I see that ending is with Orton losing a career match. Simply because there's no point in having Edge come back for like 6 months and then get booted out because he lost the match. So yeah, I'm going to go Orton on this.
It's all in the wording, though, isn't it? They could do career loser leaves Raw or something. So obviously they can go to NXT or SmackDown. Or, in WWE world, if someone's off TV for like 6 months, that's enough to say they left. And then obviously they came back, they got rehired. But there's a lot that could happen.
RVD.
Well, yeah, not just RVD. They did it with Jericho a few years back as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Jericho lose on Raw, I think, and then he came back in the Rumble. Around SummerSlam, and he came back at the Rumble. Barrett, then.
The fact that this match is going to be compared to some of the best organic matches of all time is ridiculous. Like, how can you pre-anticipate something to be great? All the great matches that have come before have all been because everyone thought it'd be great or good, but then on the night, then they kicked into a higher gear. I saw a tweet from Shawn Michaels saying, that his match with Undertaker in WrestleManias have been regarded as one of the greatest matches that's ever taken place. And he put a little question on there saying, "Do you think this is the greatest match ever on Backlash?" And again, pardon the pun, but the backlash of replies was like, this is a cinematic match. Actually, will make the match, in my opinion, better. But feeling a match as the greatest match ever is very strong, isn't it? I do think Orton's going to win because they made a thing of he's got more natural ability, and this is making more of a wrestling match. But I don't get how a match can be the greatest when we already know that Orton's going to do the same match he's been doing 15 years anyway. So how's the same match he's been doing 15 years going to be any different than this one if it's all going to be the same?
It's tough. So you gone with Orton, though?
I've gone with Orton because, again, just because his name is Randy Orton, I think, mainly because he's kind of untouchable in respect of, because he's that legacy act, and no matter what he's booked to do, he'll do the same thing anyway, and they still make him look really relevant, very strong at the time. Again, I can see this being on.
Fair enough.
To a later date.
No, fair enough. Yeah, I've gone with Orton too. I think this branding is insane, and I think we're all aware of that. I think the cinematic element, personally, will make it better because obviously they will be able to cover for the fact that these are guys in their 40s now. Porter, you said about the Jim Cornette email. I don't even think in 2005 they could have had a 5-star match, in my opinion. I think, it was just never going to happen. They were very good workers back then, but I don't think it would have been too early. Orton was still in his dickhead mode, wasn't he? And Edge was kind of focused on rising up the card, and was a couple of years off from having fantastic programs from like The Undertaker and Batista and Kurt Angle, and Lord knows who knows it. Who else? Sorry. The tagline is insane, and that's what they're going for. I think it would be entertaining. I'm just hoping it's not too long. This goes in general. I think we mentioned it last month. Money in the Bank being about 2.5 hours. Takeover as well being the same. Again, I'm hoping this pay-per-view too. I think the short pay-per-views are definitely working and something which they need to continue. Obviously, like I said, we have recorded this a couple of days in advance. So if they do decide to add more matches, we will not do predictions on them. They won't count. But there we are. That is Backlash and the greatest wrestling match ever. A couple of differences amongst us as a group, I guess. But look, we're excited somewhat, even though we have said a lot of things somewhat against the show. There is hope here. And it is nice to see some sort of wrestling action on. So Chapman's got to try and defend his crown. And that's been it from the Viewpoint. I've been Lucas Jackson. I've been joined by the heavyweight Lewis Barrett, by Champagne Charlie, and by Dan Chapman.
The real winner.
And Just Porter, of course. And let's see who wins. And we'll be back weekly for Talking Crap podcast episodes. And Barrett's on one in a couple of weeks. We'll be discussing Impact Wrestling. And our series finale of the podcast will feature a variety of guests discussing a variety of topics. And the Viewpoint returns, of course, for Extreme Rules, which is in July. Until then, I've been Lucas Jackson, the life coach, and you've been listening to Talking Crap, The Viewpoint. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on the other side.